Alright, so do you guys remember that thing Bungie spoke about a few weeks ago called Edge of Fate? You may have almost forgotten about it given the amount of drama and weird news that we've had out of Bungie in the last couple of weeks. So trying to take a more positive angle right here, I've compiled all of the gameplay that Bungie have provided for Edge of Fate, which is actually a reasonable amount. I'm going to do a much more in-depth breakdown right here of all of the weapons from the Kepler set, as well as the new armor, changes that we'll see on those things, a far more detailed look at the expansion itself, as well as missions and objectives, new enemy types, a kind of vendor hub or social hub potentially, and we have new press images which give us a much better look at those as well. Plus there are all of the system changes, new perks and stats, a look at an exotic weapon for Edge of Fate, some pretty weird archetypes we're going to be getting by the looks of things as well. Then there are the abilities, events, and a whole bunch of other things which we're going to go into a lot more detail about in this video. So I hope you guys find this one useful, and if you do, a rating below really does help us out on the channel. Otherwise though, let's get into it. Of course, we've seen the trailer a few times, I'm sure, but Bungie in the reveal also showed off a very cool cinematic, obviously the kind of opening cinematic for the expansion, which shows the classic jump ship leaving the last city, flying past the Witness's Pyramid and the Pale Heart Traveler, which in itself is pretty cool. Obviously, on top of that, Bungie have taken a design pass on Orin, the Emissary of the Nine, who now has armor, which is pretty neat in itself. Looking to Kepler though, which is the name of the destination that we'll be headed to, this is a small planet right on the edge of our solar system, and Bungie did share some pretty cool cinematic footage of what the destination actually looks like. We can see that ship in the background, probably an aircraft carrier, that was actually in some of the concept art for Edge of Fate, and many of the areas appear to have this kind of mysterious ether swirling out of the ground and up into the air, which is cool. And we do see a mixture of largely Vex and Fallen sort of architecture in there too. That does include some new variants of those enemies, so there are Fallen Corsairs, these flying geezers. They look like they'll be pretty fun. And we can see there's a mission here on Kepler called the Weapon. We'll speak more about what that might be in just a moment, but there are some new Vex enemies here. Following on from the Dread, Bungie are investing more into flying enemies, which is interesting. But there are further updates to the Fallen. Some of them will now have strand energy, and you can see some more in-depth screenshots here of those Corsair enemies, as well as the destination itself. We also get some cinematic footage of Lodi, or Lodi, who's the really out-of-place looking character. Kind of looks like a normal dude who works in an office, turning up with a Warlock cosplay. As Bungie have indicated, there is a story behind that. Additionally, the Guardians here, wearing the new Kepler armor, and this is a vendor or social hub potentially for Kepler as well. We can see in the background there are NPCs and guards, as well as a vault terminal, and we can see a new vendor will be housed here as well. There's a big golden ball in the middle, which is interesting, and that's attached to a bunch of sort of wires and pipes. Potentially, that mission called the Weapon could be referencing this piece of technology. Obviously, it's going to be linked heavily to the destination. There's an area in the back of that hub as well, which looks like a portal of some kind. So it's going to be a really key part of Kepler, as well as the narrative components for the space. Personally, I always enjoy a new destination to explore, so I'm looking forward to that. Here though, we get a better look at a bunch of weapons. So this is the Kepler weapon set. Aesthetically, I think Bungie have done a pretty cool job on this, and we spot these weapons in action a few times. The pulse rifle right here comes with strand damage. When they actually fire at the Corsair, it does consume 3 rounds, but it actually appears to fire almost a tracking projectile of some kind, as opposed to traditional pulse rifle rounds. We can see in the tooltip as well, it says missile primed, so obviously some new weapon functionality here, almost like a rocket-assisted round built into the pulse rifle, and we see that in a couple of different cinematic shots. Plus, Bungie show off the shooting range that they outlined. This will be coming to the tower during an event called Arms Week shortly after the launch of Edge of Fate. And here we additionally get to see some of the weapons and elements. So the hand cannon from that set is a solar damage hand cannon, and it looks like it'll be a 2-round burst based on the gameplay. The machine gun from the set obviously comes with stasis damage. Plus they show the auto rifle, which is going to be a kinetic weapon. And this one's called Giver's Blessing. We see another screenshot of it here. This is a fully enhanced Tier 5 version, as weapons and armor will now come with different tiers. Tier 5 obviously, as we can see, has enhanced traits across everything, so that includes magazines and barrels, as well as the origin trait, and we're going to earn the higher tier weapons by playing harder content. That's basically all we know for now. Otherwise, the shotgun from the Kepler set will be a void weapon, and they show a weapon that'll drop in Solstice 2025 called the Yeartide Apex, which is a lightweight frame Tex Mechanica SMG. And just to contrast this versus the Tier 5 weapon, this version of the SMG is a Tier 3 weapon that gets normal enhanced traits, but the barrels, magazines, and origin traits are not enhanced. So a Tier 3 weapon basically will be the equivalent to the best weapons that we can currently get in Destiny 2, such as the Adept weapons from Ride of the Nine, for instance. So for the moment, the notable difference between Tier 3 and Tier 5 is that obviously at Tier 5 those additional perks will also get enhancements of some kind. Here though we get a look at what appears to be an exotic weapon. This looks like a hand cannon, obviously. It does not match the hand cannon from the Kepler set, the legendary that we just looked at, so that's the first thing. Also it has a cool holographic sight, and it starts by firing arc damage, which sends a bolt of lightning from the sky, then appears to do some kind of special reload and actually changes to a stasis hand cannon. So almost certainly this is the first exotic we've seen for Edge of Fate, outside of the New Land Beyond of course, which is not really an Edge of Fate exotic. So pretty excited to check that weapon out. Then of course we see armor once again in a little bit better detail here. Outside of the aesthetics though, we can see the stat screen for characters has been completely updated. A weapon stat is now part of the character stats as well, and the weapon stat increases weapon reload speed and handling, as well as damage against minor and major combatants, and if you get your weapon stat over 100, there's an enhanced benefit where ammo bricks from defeated targets have a chance to contain additional rounds, and it increases weapon damage against bosses and opposing guardians. I don't know how that may be offset inside of PvP. You can see as well here, there's a health stat where the enhancement allows shields to recharge more quickly and have additional health when facing combatants. The class stat, where enhancement allows gaining an overshield when you use your class ability. Then we have grenade, super, and melee abilities, where the enhanced benefit will increase the damage done by them. So stats get a rework initially, and set bonus perks, which will be featured on armor sets moving forward, will also show beneath the character stats. So on the Titan here, there's a tech sec bonus, and wearing 2 pieces allows you to deal significantly increased kinetic damage to combatant shields, overshields, vehicles, and constructs. But wearing 4 pieces additionally allows defeating powerful combatants or breaking a combatant shield with kinetic weapons to release a disorienting kinetic shockwave. You'll spot other set bonuses in this mix as well. So the armor rework is set to be significant, as well as a power rework. We don't know what the maximum will be, but obviously we're going to start at a point lower than what we are right now, as all of the gear shown off in the preview here is at around 300 power. So share your thoughts on those, but looking back to Kepler for a moment, currently there are no new abilities confirmed for Guardians in general, although I'm sure there'll be some things added or changed for existing stuff, but there will be new dark matter abilities on Kepler, so these will be built into specific combat spaces by the looks of things. The first is the Matter Ball, which literally allows us to turn into a small ball rolling around on the floor, kind of jolting targets as we pass through them. But we'll have another ability where we'll be able to interact with bulb nodes around the destination. That'll give us a buff called Stabilizing Dark Matter, which will actually allow us to move around particular objects by using strand damage by the looks of it. So we'll be able to move objects out of the way or configure them into bridges or thoroughfares of some sort. The other one Bungie spoke about was a cannon, which we can see right here. Literally looks like a crazy exotic rocket launcher, and that'll be able to be picked up and fired to remove lasers from certain passageways. So more than anything, these interact with the world and again are built into particular combat spaces. Otherwise, Bungie showed off the new director for the game, which is actually referred to as the Portal. This will be the new landing screen, and we can see on the top left it will always feature the newest expansion destination. Beneath that, we can automatically jump to the tower, but it will also show off active events in the game. There's one here called Sharpshooter, which I believe will be linked to the Arms Week event. Then on the right-hand side, there's a notification for upcoming events, Solstice of Heroes in this instance, and quick launch options for a seasonal hub, which I think will take us to seasonal objectives, weekly challenges, and things like that, as well as a quick launch option for the latest campaign content. So really it's a new way to navigate around the game overall, as well as the new playlists like Solo Ops designed for solo players, Fireteam Ops for small fire teams, Pinnacle Ops, which will be harder end game content, and then Crucible Ops. And inside of these there'll be various different activities to choose from, and we'll get new difficulty options where we can customize modifiers, allowing us to make the modes easier or harder, and each set of modifiers will result in a grade for that activity, which will directly affect rewards. So we can see as the grade changes, the primary rewards for each grade also adjust, and that includes the type of gear, the rarity of it. There's also a new red engram, which looks like it's going to basically indicate the best rewards we can earn in terms of power, but this stuff will apply to the game in general, so it's going to be added into all existing activities and stuff, as well as the new content in Edge of Fate specifically. So it's quite a big shake-up on what we have at the moment. I think the weapons and armor stuff is looking pretty cool. There are concerns about having to regrind all of those things and the relevance of our existing gear. As we mentioned, right up into the end game of Edge of Fate, our existing weapons will certainly be relevant. I think it'll be the same for armor more than likely as well. But then as we get to the end game for Edge of Fate, and the year moving forward, that will become more reliant on new gear. So in terms of earning stuff, I think most players probably will agree it just depends how fun the game is, right? If there's enough new stuff to do that's entertaining in terms of gameplay, then grinding out a bunch of armor and weapons again probably won't feel like the end of the world because we'll actually be enjoying the time we spend in the game, right? I think it will certainly be more concerning if most of that time is spent playing activities that we've had for many years, but time will tell how it pans out on that front. There we go, guys. I wanted to do a much more in-depth breakdown now that we've had more time to kind of collect info and piece all of these things together, because first passes on these big reveals definitely miss out a lot of details. So there we have it. Let us know your thoughts on the destination, what we can see there, the enemies, and gear. The story will certainly be interesting as well. I'm certainly willing to embrace what Bungie are trying to do here, so I'm keeping positive for the moment. A couple of months from now, however, of course, we'll know precisely how everything's feeling. So let me know what you think below. If you've enjoyed the video, a rating really does help us out as well. Plus, be sure to get subscribed and I will keep you posted with more content. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.